Okay, in this quick review, we're going to be comparing fractions. So if you look at 5e14, you're comparing 1/4 and 2/6. In order to compare fractions, you have to be the same kind. Which one has to be the same kind? The denominator, the one in the bottom. They have to be the same number to compare fractions. So how do we make them the same kind? In Matthew C, they call it the rule of 4. What does the rule of 4 mean? It means you take this number and you multiply it to both the numerator and denominator of that fraction, and then you take this number and multiply it to the numerator and denominator of that fraction. Alright? So I'm going to rewrite it down here. So here we have 1/4 and 2/6. So the easiest way to make common denominator is to always take this number and multiply it to this fraction. So we're going to multiply it to the numerator and the denominator. Whatever you do to one, you have to do to the other. Then I'm going to take this number and multiply it to the other fraction, and whatever you do to one, you have to do it to the other. Because basically 6 divided by 6 is 1. You're basically multiplying by 1. You're not changing the value of it, you're just changing the numbers. Like a whole pizza is always a whole pizza, no matter if you cut it up into 2 slices or 20 slices. Same. These will be equivalent fractions once you multiply it to this. Okay, so now we take our 6 and multiply it to both the numerator and the denominator. When you multiply fractions, you multiply straight across. So 6 times 1, 6, over 6 times 4, 24. Now let's look at this fraction. 2 times 4, 8, over 6 times 4, 24. Now they are the same kind. The denominators are the same. Now we can compare them. Which one is bigger? 6 24ths or 8 24ths? Since this is a bigger numerator, this one is more. So you can do this. You're either going to be using this symbol, or equals. So the bigger mouth, the bigger opening points to the bigger side. The smaller point points to the smaller. Okay? So in your original answer, you can fill in the oval with that. So 8 24ths is greater than 6 24ths. Let's look at 5f16. Okay, again, we're going to use the rule of 4. In order to compare fractions, the denominator has to be the same kind. How do you do that? You take this denominator and you multiply it to this fraction. You have to multiply it. If I'm going to multiply it to the denominator, I have to multiply it to the numerator. Now take this number and multiply it to this other fraction. So now you can see the denominators will be the same. 8 times 7, 7 times 8, same thing. So but if I do this to the denominator, I have to do it to the numerator. Okay, now this new fraction, multiply straight across. 8 times 3 is 24, over 8 times 7, 56. There's my oval. Second fraction, 1 times 7, 7. 8 times 7, 56. Now that my denominators are the same, I can compare the fraction. Is 2456, which one is bigger, 2456 or 756? Obviously 2456 is bigger, so it looks like this. The bigger opening, the mouth, the wider side, faces the bigger number. The point faces the smaller number. So now you know which fraction is bigger. So 3/7 in the original problem, 3/7, because that's the same as 2456, 3/7 is greater than 1/8. Okay? Now let's look at 5f18. Gary ate 1/3 of the pie and Monty ate 3/8 of a pie. Okay, so here we have Gary. Gary ate 1/3. Monty, it's always good to label, that way you know that we know that 1/3 goes with Gary, 3/8 goes with Monty. Okay? Use the rule of 4 to make the denominators the same and tell who ate more pie. Okay? We're trying to determine, did Gary or Monty eat more pie? Well, we need to use the rule of 4. The rule of 4 says, makes the denominators the same. You have to have the same denominator to compare. So take this number, multiply it to this fraction. You have to multiply it to the denominator and the numerator. Take this number, multiply it to this fraction, to the numerator and the denominator. Okay, now when you multiply fractions, you multiply straight across. 8 times 1, that's your new numerator. 8 times 3, 24 is your new denominator. Over here in this fraction, 3 times 3, 9. 8 times 3, 24. Now that our denominators are the same, we can compare 8 24ths to 9 24ths. Which one is bigger? This one. So the bigger opening faces that way. So now all you have to do is take this and put it up here. This fraction is the same as this one, so therefore 3/8 is greater than 1/3. So who ate more pie? Monty. So Monty ate more. Monty ate more. And your work proves it.